Hello, I'm Robert Darwin, and I'm a corporate partner in the London office of Hogan Lovells. I focus my practice on international complex M&A and private equity deals, and a decent proportion of what I do in terms of deals now touches the life sciences industry in some way. I think that UK life sciences M&A and corporate transactions are a pretty hot topic right now because really of what's going on in the market locally in the UK. Clearly, we've had the outcome of the Brexit referendum, which means that we're now on a clock towards the UK's departure from the EU, which is currently expected at the beginning of 2019. And one of the consequences of that is that a huge amount of uncertainty has been overlaid onto an M&A market, which otherwise has really strong fundamentals. But one of the phenomena in that uncertainty is that acquisition, investment, collaboration activity in the life sciences industry is really continuing at a great pace. And I think that speaks to the continuing volume of opportunities that people are seeing from outside of the UK to invest in the UK and in the life sciences industry in particular. And really secondly, just to the long-term confidence in the UK's role as a global player in the life sciences industry, and that people are willing to look beyond a short 2-year time window and instead say, well, where are we going to be in 2027? And it seems to me that their appetite is that they're a believer that the UK is going to continue to remain very strong in that sector. What we are seeing as a continuing trend are very substantial M&A deals where global pharma companies are looking to buy very substantial private pharmaceutical or frankly publicly listed pharmaceutical companies in the UK. And we're seeing that trend continue as global consolidation goes on and as companies want to grow and execute their own strategic objectives. I think that the UK continues to be the most active country in Europe for life sciences M&A for some really fundamental reasons that I don't think are fashion or trend driven, but are just driven by facts. It has great infrastructure. It has a really kind of permissive business environment where English law clearly is very respected as a basic framework for doing business, but also the tax environment is very favourable to companies operating there. And there's also not just a perception, but a reality of really deep regulatory expertise in the UK, that really the UK's profile as a global life sciences contributor and player is very substantive. And as a result, there are simply more M&A opportunities in the UK than in other European countries. But there are some uncertainties that Brexit could create around strength of currency, around freedom of movement of workers, and also where some of the regulatory expertise that was done by that lives within the EMA, which will relocate out of the UK, and what effects that might have on the particular target that you're looking at. None of these issues can be fatal, but it's important to get ahead of them and understand what impact that might have. And the next thing to clearly bear in mind, depending on how this company makes its money and what stage it's at, is that within the UK as a market, 90% of all purchases of pharma, I think, and that's about the right statistic, are made by the NHS. So they're not purchased by insurance companies, but they're purchased by a government agency ultimately. And so understanding how those interactions work and can be managed is, I think, a key aspect of that. And thirdly, really just to understand how English law works, how the regulation of medicines within the UK is affected and how that relates to Europe and how that might change. Now, these are all things on which we're regularly helping clients, and the reason we're regularly helping clients with them is because they're important questions that go right to the bottom line ultimately. So I don't think they should be ignored when people are investing in the UK life sciences industry. I think that anyone taking a long-term view of the UK life sciences industry, irrespective of Brexit, should feel very positive. Not just because of the substance of the market, with the UK being the second really biggest global player in life sciences, but because of the UK's continued contribution to world science and the UK government's strong support of it.